Where are you from
Okay.
originally?
I am from the South originally.
In grade school, did you go to a public school or private school?
I went to public
Favorite subject?
art. It was art.
And I know you're really young at that point. Did you have any idea what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Yeah, so when I was in elementary school, I wanted to be an archaeologist, which is so far from what I do now. I was really into ancient Egypt and dinosaurs, and that was like what I wanted to do. And yeah, I've always said that like once I figured out like, oh, I'm gonna have to like be out in the dirt all day is when I was like, oh, maybe we'll pick something else. And that's when I was like, I want to be an actress. So somewhat made it there.
In high school, were you popular? Were you a loner or a geek, a nerd?
Definitely wasn't popular. I in my audios and stuff, I say that I'm a goth, and I am. Luckily, I was always attractive enough not to get mercilessly bullied, but I was definitely the weird kid. I didn't get talked to by a lot of the popular kids. I went to high school in a really small town. So everybody that was popular, it was very football, cheerleader, and I was like in art class and theater class and wore all black. So I wasn't very popular.
Were you popular with the boys?
Actually, not really. I always dated guys that were older, so they never went to my high school, and so, yeah, most high school boys didn't give me like the time of day. Plus, I didn't really look like what they wanted at the time, which was all the cheerleaders and stuff.
And you mentioned you were bullied. You bullied in grade school or bullied in high school?
Middle school. I got bullied a lot in middle school. Middle school was a weird, I feel like it's a weird period for a lot of people, but it was a really weird period for me of like trying to figure out, everybody goes to it, your identity or what you look like, because I was really preppy for like elementary school and part of middle school. And then my mom went on a trip and I was like, no, I'm gonna start wearing all black. I'm gonna like completely change my look. And I did that and I got bullied for it a lot. But I'm glad that I did it.
And at that point, had you done any modeling?
I had done a little bit of modeling when I was younger, and I had done a couple of beauty pageants. My mom is like a quintessential Southern mom. She put me in beauty pageants and stuff like that. So yeah.
When you did that stuff, or even you mentioned you wanted to be an actress, at that point, were you doing it for the attention or were you hoping it would be make you money?
I think for me, it's definitely the attention and getting a reaction because I love entertaining people. My mom was a single mom, and so I loved doing things to like, perform for her and stuff like that. So yeah, it was definitely an attention thing. It's never been for me. It never been. I wanted to be comfortable, but never been about the money. It's more so about like I love for for example, like now, I love when people will be like, wow, that audio was so great. Like I got me through the 3 hour drive that I was listening to it to or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely for the reaction.
And do you remember the first time you saw something adult related?
I
Late night
do.
programming,
I
anything?
do. I do. I do. It's a funny story. I've told people before. So I was in middle school. We had just gotten our first like family computer and my mom had it set up in the kitchen and I would come home from school and get on it for a while every day. And I don't know what website I was on, but I was on some website clicking around doing whatever. And there were, the porn pop-ups. And I like saw it and I flashed, I didn't know what it was, and I clicked it and it was just like upper raw porn. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea what I was gonna do. I freaked out. I was so scared that my mom was gonna like throw the computer away. But that was the first time that I had seen it. Obviously it was in middle school. I had heard sex jokes and stuff, and it's funny, it was a blowjob. The video that popped up was a blowjob, and I can remember seeing that and being like, oh my God. I thought being in my infinite wisdom, I thought that you just put it in your mouth and blew on it like you do a straw. So when I saw
No.
that, I was like, wow, I had no idea that's what you did.
And from that point and going forward in your life, when you saw adult material before you started it, had the thought ever crossed your mind that I could do that?
It had never crossed my mind, but it did later. I would say right before I was out of high school, one of the things that I said I got bullied a little bit, but not really, is they would always say that I sounded like a phone sex operator or I looked like a stripper or whatever. The popular show at the time when I was in high school was like Rock of Love, and they would say, oh, she looks like those strippers on Rock of Love. So I had never thought about it until people started saying that. And then, being that age, it started seeping into your brain. I was like, yeah, I could probably do that. I don't see anything that's wrong with that. So when I graduated and I was in the interim before I was going to go off and do whatever I was as an adult, I went to spring break and that was the first time I ever did anything. I did a wet t-shirt contest, and I can remember my friends were just like, can't believe you did that. And I was like, it was so much fun. I should do it again.
You did that for the attention. You did that for the fact that you're very good looking now. You probably had a rockin' body back then, and I would imagine you wanted to show the rack off.
Yeah, it was definitely a show off thing. I was like, yeah, none of my friends were brave enough to do it. I'm like, we're in a town where nobody knows us. Why not? Yeah, so.
And you mentioned that you were golf and stuff in high school. Just from talking to you, it seems like you did have an effect on boys, whether it was the effect you wanted to or not. Would that be?
That's probably pretty accurate. Yeah, and I do know from obviously like growing up, and I go back home for like Christmas and stuff, and I have run into people from my high school before, and a couple of them have been like, "Oh, I had the biggest crush on you in high school," and I was like, "Really? Would never have known." So yeah, I think I did, and I just had no idea, or I was oblivious to it all.
You mentioned in high school, did you go to your prom?
I did go to prom. I took, it was funny. I had to have my boyfriend, at the time had graduated probably I'd say like 2 years before that. So I actually had to have a note signed by the principal that my older boyfriend could come to prom. But yeah, I did go to prom.
Did you have the long evening and happy ending and the whole bit?
To be honest, I was not a big fan of prom. We did dinner. I got all dressed up. I loved the dress, loved taking pictures. I think that I stayed at actual prom for maybe an hour. We went and danced for like an hour, and then we realized, I was like, this is kind of lame. So we left.
I'm guessing you graduate from high school. Do you go to college at that point? Do you get a job? Do you do?
So I've worked since I was 16. I've always had a job of some sort. I knew that I did not want to go to like traditional school, like college wise. So my mom actually helped me to go to cosmetology school. So I did that. And then I ended up moving again, and that's when I started stripping. And I was like, okay, no more of doing the restaurant jobs. We're going to do this.
And did the school break when you showed off your rack, did that have anything to do with you stripping? Or was stripping strictly a money thing? Was it something you wanted to do?
Yeah, stripping was definitely a money thing that was just kind of like, so basically what happened is I moved from my hometown to a bigger city. And I was planning on just having, regular job, and I was going to put myself through makeup school. And when I got there, I was moving in with my boyfriend, and when I moved in, told me finally that he didn't actually have a job. So we were kind of going to be broke. So I was like, I feel like there's got to be a strip club around here. They've got to like have like an amateur night, right? So he took me. I met with the manager, and I will never forget this. He was like, yeah, I'll hire you right now. You have to go get a license. And he looked at my boyfriend at the time, and he was like, you won't recognize her in a month. And he was right. You look completely different because you're doing your hair, your nails, all the stuff. Body changes. I had no idea like how crazy of a workout it really is to do that all the time. So yeah, it was definitely for money, but then I realized how much I liked it. So ditched the boyfriend, kept the dancing, and it was fun.
The initial time. Were you confident enough to know that, hey, I got a good rocking body here. I can do this. Or were you just curious, like?
No, I know that it sounds a bit conceited, but I did know that I could do it, especially at that point. Like, I was like 19 at that point, so I was pretty sexual, and I had done enough stuff that I was like, yeah, I could do this. It's going to be a bit nerve-wracking to dance on a stage, but I can do the other bit.
When you start dancing, do you enjoy the stage aspect or the VIP aspect?
I really liked both, but once I got used to it, I loved the stage aspect because I did ballet for 13 years. So
Oh,
being on stage dancing is something I love to do. And once I got the hang of it and I had one of the older girls like show me how to do the pole
right.
stuff, I loved it and it was like my favorite. But I also I loved giving lap dances. It was always fun talking to people because I can yap all day.
And stage, is it also that you're the center of attention, all eyes are on you, is raining on you, all of that, or do you like the performance aspect?
For me, that was when I realized that I had an exhibitionist kink because I really
All
just
right.
liked being naked in front of a bunch of people. So yeah, I think it was probably the exhibitionism, the attention thing. But yeah, the performance was good too. That I think came a bit later once I got like more comfortable with it and started doing tricks and stuff. But it really was probably the tipping point for me to realize, oh wow, I really like getting, I don't mind getting naked in front of a bunch of people.
And when you're on stage stripping, do you find guys like your rack more than your butt, or do you make? Because to me, it's the eye contact, and then the
Oh,
closer you get to the girl, the more it seems to be easy to get money out.
they were funny at the time. My boobs were a bit bigger because I still had like my baby fat from being like 19, so they liked the boobs a lot. But after I had been there, I'd say probably about 2 years, it was more about the butt, and I had never had an ass ever. So having one at that point was really nice. But the one that I never saw coming that I got a lot was feet. Never saw that one coming, but feet was a big one.
And music for you. So did you have specific music you danced to?
So I had specific songs at my home club. I did a lot of like Typo Negative, Marilyn Manson, that kind of
Of
stuff.
course, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And then on the weekends, they wanted us to do more kind of like rappy stuff. So I did, what was the one I used to do? I did a lot of like Tupac and stuff like that because it was really our DJ was kind of old school and he was like, it's like feel good music. People know this
Right.
song. But in Vegas, it wasn't like that. We couldn't pick our own music. They did what you're talking about. It was like kind of slower and then it's going to pick up and they did just a lot of like EDM music and stuff.
No.
So yeah, didn't get to pick there.
But like no, Typo Negative used to love Summer Breeze, their version.
Yes,
Uh, I think it's We Hate Everybody, which is kind of a weird song, but I love the vibe and love just the beat and
a
just
lot
all
of
of
their
that.
songs work really good for strip club music. They really
That
do.
and did you ever use Lords of Acid?
I never used Lords of Acid at the strip club, but I should have, but I listened to them. We
And
had another girl that did them.
when you went into doing dances, did you prefer the 6 foot rule or were you okay with contact?
I was okay with contact. Definitely okay with contact. I didn't mind that. Our club, my home club had a rule of where they weren't like supposed to touch you. But our manager was a bit more lenient. So, he would let them touch our boobs and stuff like that. So it wasn't a big deal. I never minded it. The only time it got a little bit strange, I think, is when I was in Vegas, and they obviously are a lot more like they let you be a lot more
Right.
hands-on. So I had to get used to the bed dances and having people touch
Yes.
me on a bed,
Yes.
but once I did, it was a lot of fun. Luckily, I never really had a bad experience with somebody being too weird with it, so I always got to enjoy it. But yeah, I really liked giving lap dances.
And for you, when you mentioned you didn't have a lot of bad experiences, but if a guy accidentally touched your boobs or your butt or someplace else, did you have a specific way to deal with
My like strip club big sister taught me is I would be like facing away from them, like grinding, and she was like, just sit down on them really hard. So that's what I would do. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. My shoe slipped or whatever. So that's what I would do. But there was a girl at our club that would do the same thing, like kneeing them in the balls, and I don't blame her.
and how did you handle people who came in their pants when you were dancing?
I never really, I only can remember one or two times, that I know it happened more than that, but I only knew one or two times that I actually like felt it. And that was a little, I'm like, oh, come on. Because there were these guys that would come in basketball shorts because they're thinner than
Yes, yes,
jeans, right?
yes.
You've seen it. So the two times that it happened, it was with that. And I was like, I obviously, I don't want to ever think that people are just, they're like gunning on it to happen. So I was like, it's okay, you know, whatever. And they were really nice about it. But I've experienced doing a double dance with a friend of mine, and it happened. And the guy was just really weird about it and like was making like comments. And we were like, had to get the door guy. And I'm like, see, that's the way not to do it. We can acknowledge that you did it. It's okay. It
Okay,
happens, but don't be
here's
weird about it.
then does dancing get you into the OnlyFans? Or did you meet somebody, or how's that happen?
So I just started OnlyFans after I started doing audio porn. It wasn't around when I think when I was just finishing dancing is when it was starting to come out. But if it had been around when I was dancing, I would have absolutely had it. I wish that we would have had it because I bet it would have made a big difference. I have friends now that still dance, and she talks about like so much easier to connect with your customers instead of sending an
Oh,
email and having a work phone. So yeah, I'm sure it makes a big difference. But yeah, I got into that just because of the audio stuff. There were a couple of other girls that had like touched on it, not really done it. And I had done some fetish modeling before, so I was like, whatever, I'm gonna try. So I did, and that's how I got into it. And now it's, going into its own thing. It's going in its own direction, which is fun.
okay, 20 questions here. Without audio porn, it sounds very cool. Tell me, how
Yeah.
did you get into that? How did you discover it and all that?
So, I had no idea it existed. I have a friend who is on Reddit a lot, and they mentioned I told them I like reading fan fiction, and they were like, "Have you ever gone onto any of the porn subreddits?" And I was like, "No, not really. It's not really my thing. I'm looking more for like reading." And she's like, "I think you would like audio porn." I'm like, "What is that?" She's like, "Go to Gone Wild Audio. You'll see what I mean." And it basically was just people either just like masturbating, they call it a ramble fap, just masturbating, or people doing more of what I do, which is like scripts. So like a whole one-sided audio play. So it's basically like the old-timey radio plays, but like with porn. So I discovered that, I tried it, and I really, really liked it. I love acting. I was a theater kid in high school, so it hits that kink for me. But yeah, I had no idea it existed. But audio porn is great. A lot of people love it because it's a nice, from a listener perspective, you can insert yourself and look however you want to look. You can picture whoever you want to picture. For people that want to remain anonymous and still make porn, it's a great outlet because no one ever has to see you if you don't want to. So it's a really fun, and a lot of people don't know about it, but I wish that it would venture more into the mainstream because I think it would be big if it did.
Sounds fascinating. Your
Yeah.
scripts, are they based on sexual fantasies? Or are they based on stuff you've seen, something happened in your life, something you want to happen in your life? I don't know.
Basically all of the above. So these days I do a lot of improvisation. I do work with a few writers, but nowadays I really just will have some random idea, or I see a movie and something in it like jumps out to me, and then I just record. I have an idea and I kind of just talk into the microphone. But it's kind of whatever you want it to be. I do draw a lot of inspiration from like personal fantasies. I always tell people I don't make anything that I'm not like into in some
Right.
capacity. Because I feel like you can kind of hear it when people aren't really like super into whatever they're doing. But yeah, it's all of the above. It's whatever you want to make it, which is really fun.
And call me stupid, but
No,
is there a difference between audio porn and talking dirty?
no, there is a difference. You're not stupid. There is a difference. I think that, so I was really bad at talking dirty, actually, like before I started doing audio porn, and it's made me better. But I think there's a big difference because kind of it's an element of it, but you're also, like kind of scene building around it. Whereas if you're just like talking dirty to somebody, that's kind of just like, one on one. You don't really have to like build the whole like vibe of it. But this is more so, like for example, what's something that I did recently? I did one recently about like a friend confessing to another friend that they're actually like into them, and it had like a whole 10-minute like thing where it's just people having a conversation. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, it's a huge aspect of it because You have to kind of get good at it. If you're not, it's not gonna be as hot. So you have to have dirty talk to have audio porn, I feel.
How long did it take you to become comfortable making audio porn and then become comfortable talking dirty?
So, I was pretty comfortable with it from jump. Like I said, I'm okay. I was okay enough with dirty talk to get by because I was a stripper. You kind of do that back and forth a little bit. Um, and because I have kind of like an acting background, it didn't feel weird to me. I'm also an only child, so I've talked to
Yeah.
myself my whole life. So the whole thing of like a lot of people struggle with like having a one-sided conversation. That wasn't a problem. But yeah, it wasn't, I think the hardest part for me was realizing that I needed to slow down because I was talking really fast to get through it. And then to brush up on the dirty talk. That was the hardest for me. That's why thank goodness people have scripts. People have tons of dirty talk that I could go off of. And once I got better at it is when I got more into the improvisation part of it.
And when you're talking audio porn, is it more about you setting up where you are, what you're wearing, what's about to happen, what you hope happens? Does it get explicit talk? Does it get into you did one insertion finger, maybe then two? Sorry if I'm disrespecting you, but is that the basic idea? Because I'm
Yeah,
stupid.
that's no,
This is fascinating, though.
yeah, it's that's the basic idea. And there are a lot of people that write scripts for it that are have done screenplays and they love it because it's basically that. But yeah, it's kind of like you start having the conversation and then because obviously somebody can't see it, you do have to be like, all right, well, let's walk over here and grab this thing. So yeah,
Right.
you have to like very much like talk it out. And there's a nice balance in doing that so it doesn't sound fake, right? Because
Right.
like you don't really do that when you're like having sex. So there's a good balance of doing the whole like, oh, it feels so good when you put your fingers inside of me instead of being like, oh, I can feel your fingers inside of me.
Do you ever find yourself when you're doing the audio stuff, your mind starts to imagine more and more stuff going on, and maybe you tend to get like way off script, but in a good
Oh
way?
yeah. Oh yeah, it happens all the time. It's I've told people it's why I try to do things in one shot when I am
Right, right.
recording because I know I'm never going to go back and find what I was saying before. But that happens quite frequently. I've gotten better at pushing it back until I get to that point. But in the beginning, it was really hard because I would want to be like, all right, I just had this idea. I should move on to it before I forget
Right.
it. But yeah, that's a great question because it is very much like that sometimes. Your brain just runs away and your mouth can't keep up.
Have you found yourself doing an audio porn before you tried the act in real life? I guess that's right. In person. Is that a way to say that?
Right, yeah, like the real life, yeah, IRL stuff. So yeah, it was I find it sometimes that audio is a bit easier because I don't have to like, I'm sure setting up to like film, you have to have lights and all the stuff. So it's a lot easier to get in the mood sometimes to do audio because you don't have to go through the whole production. But I do love visual stuff. And it was something that I knew that I wanted to add to it at some point if I was able to grow the hobby because I just started doing it just because it was fun. Like I had a vanilla job at this point. I've been in sex work on and off, but like at that point I had a vanilla job. I was doing all of that, but it's just too much fun. So
Yeah.
I decided to go full in.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was thinking you're doing a BJ for sake of discussion.
Mhm.
If I don't do BJs, I apologize. But if
Oh
you're
yeah.
doing a BJ, and we're talking audio now strictly,
Mhm.
you're talking about a BJ and you talk about getting face fucked, but maybe you've never tried being face fucked in your real life. Have you had stuff like that happen to you? I guess in the
Oh
real
yes.
world, that's the right way to say that.
Yes, good. Yeah, okay, I totally understand now. So yeah, I there has been a lot of stuff that I have done in audios that I've never done IRL. IRL, not really. I don't think that there's anything that I've tried IRL yet that I haven't like done yet before. But yeah, there's a lot of kinks that I've tested if I actually liked in audio
Right.
before I've tried them IRL, and it's really nice. A lot of people I have heard that get into audio porn, a lot of them haven't done a lot of things sexually, and it's a nice exploration to see if you kind of want to try it. Because yeah, in audio you're doing all of the blowjob stuff. You use like a dildo, and that's how a lot of people have gotten good at giving blowjobs. So it goes hand in hand for sure.
And do you have the same issue or suggestion? I tell girls when we're shooting POVs or whatever to let dialogue breathe.
Oh,
Like if you give someone a line, let it absorb. Is
right,
that
give them
effective
time
with
to
audio
answer.
porn? Well, not only
Yes.
that, but if you're looking up at a person and you say something very sexy, but she starts running through a bunch of lines very quickly, you
Mm-hmm.
know she's faking it. You know she doesn't give a shit.
Right,
If she
totally.
says one line, you just kind of wait and you think about it, and then you do a little more, and then you do. So is that the
Totally.
same thing in audio porn?
Oh yeah, that is one of the things that when people ask me for advice, I always tell them, give it the fake person that you're
Yeah,
talking to time to answer you.
yeah.
And because
So,
it's hard. Because I guess you're like one-sided. It is a bit difficult, but yeah, you've got to let it like slow down. And that is one of the complaints that I see most often from just people that listen is, wow, I'm listening to this. I didn't even have time to answer. So yeah, it's a big deal. I didn't know that it was so common in IRL stuff too.
and do you remember the first time you did an audio porn?
I do. It was actually the first one I ever did was my own script because when I first saw the audio porn stuff, I thought I'm just gonna write stuff for it because I love writing.
Yeah.
um, and I had a friend that urged me to like try recording. So it was my own script, and I just it's for men to read, but I just gender flipped it or whatever, and um that was my own thing, and thank God because it was awful. I was terrible, like not giving enough time, just like speeding through it. And I'm glad that I only disappointed myself because it was my own words. But yeah, it was my own script. And it was let's see, I started doing audios in 2019, so it's been a while. That was my first one.
But you remember the reaction the first time from a guy or something, because
Oh,
women have, to me, have very sexy voices.
mm-hmm.
And even if you fuck up, it can come across if the guy's in the right headspace.
I still record things and I'll be like, ah, that's not that good. And then it's like one of the biggest things that I've made that month. People love it. And the same thing with that. I thought the first thing I ever made was terrible, and I sent it to one of my guy friends before I posted it. And he was like, "What are you talking about? This sounds really hot. Like it's not my thing, but it's really hot." And it got pretty good reception. And the more I did it, the easier it came and it got better. But yeah, it totally. There are so many things that I make that I'm like, this is a bomb. And people love it.
In terms of audio porn, are there niches that are more popular than the other? Boy, girl, girl, I don't know.
Yeah, there's lots. And it kind of it depends sometimes on what platform you're on. So like for example, on Pornhub, they don't mind if you are doing an audio that's kind of
Right.
if you do it with a guy, so like a we call it like FM for whoever, so like a female male for whoever. They like it. Whereas on Reddit, people don't really like that there. They like it when it's just them. They don't want to like hear
Right.
another voice. So normally, I would say they like the insert where it's just like female and it's for a man. I know that a lot of there's a lot of subreddits popping up now where we're getting a lot more like gay stuff. I'm a part of a sapphic subreddit, which is always good to see. But yeah, there's niches like that that are popular. And then there's kind of like in regular porn, it goes through phases. During COVID lockdown, it was like monster girls were really popular. Now I think it's always been this way, but like MILFs are really popular, always popular. But yeah, it kind of it waxes and wanes with like pop culture things that are like popular, and then it'll switch. But yeah, the constants are, yeah, they want to hear definitely you, the solo with them. That's the
Is
most
it,
popular that I've found.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is there a specific sex act that they like to hearing you talk about?
For me specifically, blowjobs. That's the thing that people like the most about my audios is I get that a lot. That's and I'm like, if I do an audio without a blowjob, people are shocked. But
And
yeah.
in that situation, is it the build up with the VJ? Is it the act? Is it the you know when the person's going to come? and you work on that? If that makes any
So,
sense?
yeah, from are you asking for me or the listener? What do you think?
Well, for you, you're an expert at this. I'm an idiot, so I mean,
Oh, no, no, no.
you'd have to tell like from your own experience.
For
Like if I was listening to it, it's almost like masturbating while you're doing it.
hmm
But I don't know from your perspective. It's much like being a stripper.
Yeah, I can kind of gauge that. I think it usually depends on what the role play is kind of about.
Right.
If I'm going to be more submissive, I usually draw it out longer. If I'm being a bit more dominant in that audio, I usually cut it off a bit shorter. What most people really like when they're listening to the blowjob is the noises. So they like the gagging, the like all the throat noises. So I try to get up really close to the mic so that you can really like hear it.
Right.
And yeah, I have an oral fixation, so I will go and go and go and go with
Right.
those. But yeah, I usually try and in my head, kind of think about like when I've been doing it IRL, how long does it usually last? So it's not like
Right.
fake. I'm okay if people suspend their belief a little bit, but I don't want it to like, go on and they're like, wow, I've already come, like, and she's still
Right.
sucking. So yeah, that's kind of how I do that.
And we'll jump quickly off subject, but are dom discussions more popular than sub discussions?
It honestly, I feel like sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't. And I wish that I could find like the perfect like balance. Some months I can tell that like I put out something like more subby and it doesn't do as well. And then I put out something more dominant and it blows up and it's like vice versa. It's really hard to like gauge it. I try to keep it pretty even because at this point, because I've been doing it so long, I have a lot of fans on like both sides. So I try to keep it pretty even for everybody. But yeah, it's hard to tell.
What about the whole daddy thing?
Oh, the daddy thing. I love the daddy kink. I have it myself. So I love doing it, but that is a very strong opinion that people have. They either love it or they hate it. And there's a lot of websites now that are cracking down on us and like won't let us say it as much because they consider it like incest, even though it's
Right.
not.
Right. Right.
So we have to like play by their rules, but I don't mind it. I really like it. It's in a lot of my audios. It's what I'm known for in some things because I've done a lot of audios that are more like older man focused. So like, hooking up with your babysitter, your daughter's friend or whatever. And that's I love making those, so I've made a lot of those.
I'm guessing you do custom audios. Is there such a
I
thing?
do. I do. I don't do as many as I used to just because I don't have as much time. But yeah, I do customs, and that is something that I've really enjoyed because I found out a lot about a lot of kinks that I had no idea existed, or a lot of things that people are into that I never would have guessed. So it's been fun.
Craziest request you got for a custom audio?
The craziest one I got, and I had never heard of it. It's plushophilia. It's people that like to like have sex with like stuffed animals, but they want them to be like alive, so sentient, and they can talk. And I had never heard of that. It was really cool. I had a blast making it, but I had no idea that even existed.
And for you, how much different is creating audio stuff versus visual stuff?
Um, for me, it's not that different. When I'm doing like a role play video that's visual, I do it basically the same way that I do it when I'm doing an audio. It's a little bit, I would say it's a little bit trickier because when I'm recording, I can just edit as I go. I can be like, oh, that sounded awful. I'll just edit it. Video, it's a little bit harder to do that.
Right.
Or if you like slip up or like get a tongue twister, but it's basically the same. And I have days that I'm like, I really don't feel like recording today, so I'll film today, and it's like vice versa. But yeah, it's basically the same.
But doing, from being an actress doing audio, how cool, strange, weird is it when you have to start taking naughty photos and stuff? Is that a problem for you, or were you a technical person?
It wasn't a problem for me. No, not at all. I had to get decent at figuring out that like um taking like lewd pictures that aren't for like my like boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. It has a little bit different. Like it's not, I realized that okay, this angle looks better than doing like a selfie angle or, whatever. So I'm more conscious about it than if I'm like,
Right.
just like hanging out with like a partner and like sexting them and sending them pictures. But yeah, I'm a perfectionist. It gets in the way sometimes because I very like things to look a specific way, but I try to just let go because again, some of the pictures that I've taken that I'm like, I look awful in this. People love it.
Right.
So I'm like, apparently I don't know what I'm talking about.
But when you shoot adult content, do you shoot what you want to shoot or stuff you think will sell?
I always do stuff that I want to do because I have a big rule for anything that I do with content that if I don't feel like it, I don't make it. If I'm not into it, I don't make it. If I'm not like in the zone, I don't make it because I don't want it to be bad. So yeah, I very much make the stuff that I want to make. And it's been good. I've at least, found a nice audience that likes the same things I do. So they enjoy it and they come to me for that. But yeah, I definitely stick to things that I know that I'm gonna like over the money just because I'm like, I would hate to one day wake up and be burned out with it.
Then for you, what's a good clip? Is a good clip lighting? Is a good clip energy? Is a good clip what?
I think a good clip for me is definitely energy. I can deal with bad lighting or the fuzzy, like if I'm getting too close and it goes out of frame. But as long as I'm like having fun and have good energy, it seems to be like I can make it work.
And when you shoot, how do I say this correctly? If I disrespect you, I apologize.
Oh
Do you
no.
shoot like a girl or do you shoot like a pervert?
No, no, that's not an offensive question. I'm a pervert. I shoot like a pervert. There's a lot of even like pictures that I show some of my friends and they're like, "Oh my God, this is so graphic." I'm like, I know, but I think that it looks good. So yeah, I definitely shoot like a pervert. I'm gonna steal
Okay.
that. If you are going to go in and shoot porn, shoot porn.
Yeah.
Don't
And
that's a great motto to live by. Don't dance around it.
the other thing too for me is, tell me if I'm wrong, but to be successful on platforms like OnlyFans and these fans and everybody else's fans at this point, it's
Mhm.
more about personality than it is about sex.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Oh, that's a great question. So, personality, I've told people all the time, you can have all the bells and whistles in the world, the best setup, but if you are flat or like you don't seem like you want to be there, it's going to be a problem. You can have all of the good stuff and still people aren't going to really be into it. They can tell when you're not like having fun. So, yeah, personality is a big, big draw. I know as a consumer too, the people that I enjoy subscribing to and watching the most are people that are having fun.
And when you start creating content, how long did it take you to notice, or do you notice now that my boob stuff is more popular, my feet stuff is real popular, my butt stuff is popular?
It took me a while to kind of get into the mindset of like, okay, it seems like this is doing better this month, or, oh, that didn't really do well. But I'd say it's been a long process of getting there. But I'd say about 2 years ago, I started kind of like tracking it just for myself, like, okay, what do people really, really come back for? And that's when I got the idea to do like, okay, so I'm gonna try and like do this many submissive things a month, this many like more dommy things. This is going to be kind of more blowjob focused. So I've kind of gotten it to a nice little schedule where I can have like, okay, there's the blowjob stuff, there's this stuff, and it kind of keeps everybody fed. But yeah, that was one of the more difficult things to track, and I didn't even know that you would do that. But yeah, it's interesting once you start doing it. I know people that do like surveys and have like
Yes.
graphs and data.
But I think a lot of people fail because they don't treat this as a business.
Yeah, no, that is a real. I'm glad that you say that because a lot of people don't say it outright. And yeah, it's I have a friend that started around the same time that I did. And he's a guy, so it's a different especially in audio porn, it's a different grind. But he says all the time, I think people wonder like I think that they just think that it just happened, like you just did this, and it's like it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of grinding. It's a lot of tracking things like that. It's about showing up and like used to I would post like audios 3 times a week when I was like trying to get people to know who I was. So yeah, it is, you have to treat it like a business even if you are just going to maybe do it for a little while or a hobby. You've got to like you should invest in yourself. It's how I tell people like you want to be treated like with respect and you want people to like give a shit about what you're making. then treat it that way. So yeah, I completely agree. I wish more people knew that.
And this is the sex business. This
Yeah,
isn't the sex. The fact that you get to fuck Fabios all day isn't good for your bank account, okay?
no.
The other thing, too, is to me, there's a lot of correlation between being a stripper and
Hmm.
having an OnlyFans account.
Yeah,
Guy
yeah.
walks in the club, he doesn't plan on giving you his paycheck. You got to go get it.
Yeah, you have to talk to them. I think a lot, you're right. A lot of people think you just make the OnlyFans and people
Right.
come to you. But no, you have to go talk to people and interact, and you do best when you are having conversations instead of like, just only messaging people
Right.
when you have a new something or whatever. So yeah, I agree. Totally agree. It is very much like the strip club.
Your OnlyFans. How much
Mhm.
different is it than your audio one? Is it different? I don't
Um,
know.
it's pretty much the same because a lot of people that come there, they find me from audio stuff, and even still to this day, I've had an OnlyFans for like almost like 5 years now. Will be like, oh, I had no idea that you do visual stuff. It's so nice to put a face to the voice. So yeah, a lot of people, some people don't know that I even do that. But I always tell people it's not, I don't do a lot of audios on my visual stuff, right? So I put audios there that I can't put other places.
Right.
There, there are some websites that don't want you to actually masturbate or get off. So I
Right.
put like all of those real audio, like, me actually
Right.
like fucking myself getting off on like OnlyFans, Fansly, stuff like that. But basically it's visual. So I always tell people if you prefer audio, I would go here. But if you like visual stuff, this is where I'm naked. So it's different in that aspect, yeah.
And then you do custom work on OnlyFans.
I do. I do custom videos. A lot of my favorite videos that I've ever made are customs. I'm like, because I tell people all the time, I have a lot of great ideas, but sometimes for videos, I'll be like, oh my God, I've been like recording all day. I don't have an
Right.
idea. So doing custom videos is nice because somebody else has the idea.
Right.
And I only accept
So
it if I like it. So I've made a lot of fun videos that are, for that. People do pictures a lot, but yeah, it's mostly video that they want.
craziest request you got for a custom video?
Hmm.
What's the craziest request you got for a custom video?
Oh, craziest quest. Okay. Hmm. Ooh, I don't know if I've had a super like crazy one. Video stuff is usually a bit more mundane because I think they don't know that they can go like crazy outside of the box. I would say probably I did one where somebody wanted me to do like a bunch of like almost like scene changes. And I was like, as long as you know, it's going to be in like one room in my house. I'll
Right.
change outfits and stuff like that. But they wanted me to do basically like one of my audios in a video. So I'm talking to multiple people. They wanted it to be a cheating thing. So I'm talking to the person who ordered it and their fake girlfriend. And then I'm also talking to my boyfriend. So that one was a lot. It was crazy because I had to do so much like talking and mix matching. But I haven't had anything like super like, wow, that's really kinky. Like I have the audios, but I hope I get a crazy one day.
But doing all the audio kinky stuff, how comfortable are you now doing audio kinky or visual kinky stuff?
Oh, I'm very comfortable with it. As long as I tell people, there are, obviously everybody has hard limits. But even if like if I haven't really heard of it, if you ask me, I will research it, and if it's something I think I can do, I'm down to do it. I have someone who is into like balloon stuff, and I think that they'll probably get a video at some point, which I've never done that, but I've watched enough videos now that I understand it. Um, so yeah, I hope that people order some like super kinky stuff coming up because yeah, I'm very comfortable with it now. I've done enough things in audio that I'm like, all right, it's it's pretty okay. If I
Like
don't know it, I'll figure out how to do it.
kinks, are you into BDSM?
I am, yeah, definitely.
BDSM for you, is it a turn on that you're held down and whatever up to sex, or do you like being
Um, for me, the biggest appeal to it is because I make so many decisions every single day.
right?
When I'm doing that, I don't have to make any decisions. I have somebody else doing it for me. And yeah, I really like not being in control because I am kind of a control freak in everyday life. So doing playing with BDSM, like being tied up, being like dominated, I love that because you do it. I'm just here enjoying it, and it's fun for me to be able to like just turn my brain off for a bit.
But BDSM aside, are you submissive sexually?
I am more often than not. I can be a switch, but if I'm like choosing and I'm like having just like private like sex, yeah, I usually am more submissive.
You know what a CNC scene is?
I do, yes.
Into it, not into it?
Definitely into it. I used to make a lot of audios with CNC. Obviously some places I post, they've cracked down on it, but I love CNC. It's a lot of fun.
Is the turn on there, you A, you're giving up control, B, you're having sex with people you don't know? Or C, you're helpless? Is it like,
It's the helpless thing for me, and knowing that um it almost goes into like almost a fear play for me. Like I know I'm completely safe, but am I?
right,
Like it's a mental, like a kind of a mental fuck for me. So yeah, I like the helpless aspect. Yeah, I think that's what I would pick for CNC. Yeah.
because, and for you, is the mindset, including sex in the whole bit, is the mindset just to set up and then it stops?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it kind of depends on what is happening in the scene.
Right,
But for me, in the CNC that I have done IRL, for me, it's more so the like the mental fuck and leading
right,
up
right.
to it before the
Absolutely,
sex.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So like the sex and stuff is fun, but yeah, it's definitely the leading up to it bit that's the most exciting. I agree with that. A lot of the custom audios that I have made are God, I would say about 60% of them do have like a CNC kind of element to it. People really love it. They really do. And for a lot of people that I've had order audios from me, they're like, "No, I don't really want to do this IRL." I'm like, "It's okay. It's a safe space. It's totally fine." And
Yeah,
I wish that more people, I'm glad that people have had the
yeah.
the comfortability to ask me to make it for them because they've really enjoyed it, and I hope that it's helped them like be okay with it as a kink. But yeah, I know that when I didn't know what it was called, but when I wanted to try, I just thought it was like, I didn't even know if it had a name. But I was like, I feel like, like kind of like distress, like damsel in distress kind of thing. And I remember trying to work up the courage to ask a partner for it. And it's
Right,
really intimidating to be like,
right.
can you be really awful to me for a little bit? Like,
Well,
so I get it.
did you ever do photo sets with the audio stuff? Because I would imagine that would be a big seller.
I have never done that like specifically for a lot of the audios that I have put out. Now on my fan sites, I have done a couple of like I want to say like costume looks that I'm like
Right.
this you could put with this audio. But that is something that I had been thinking about doing this year is making an audio with like an actual like whole like picture set to go with it. Because yeah, people loved it when I've just done the little things like I'm talking about like, oh, this costume could go with this audio. But yeah, people love that. You're right. It's if they are into visual, it's a nice like added element of, oh,
Yeah.
this goes with this. Yeah.
Okay, you're doing OnlyFans for
Hmm.
3 or 4 years, I'm guessing. I'm stupid,
Hmm.
but is it at a point 3 or 4 years later where you're like, I've kind of done this for enough. I think I'm going to try mainstream adult. Is that the thought
Uh,
process? Is that
yeah, so it is, I think that is a thought process or like what do I want to do next? And it has ramped up. So like last year, one of my good friends, Blue, she also does audio porn. She decided and OnlyFans, but she decided to do Face Out. And so we decided to do like a professional girl video. And that was one of those I never thought that I would probably do that. I thought I would just do solo stuff. And once we both did that, I was like, wow, that was really fun. And then she was like, I think I'm going to do boy girl stuff. I'm like, me too. So I think it's a natural progression. And I was obviously a little bit worried at first because of coming from the audio side. Like, do people want to see that? But they do. As soon as I even mentioned it, they do. So I'm excited to venture into that aspect because I'm the kind of person that once I've been doing something for a while, I want to see what else I can
the
do with it.
progression?
Yeah, for sure.
You decide to do a boy girl scene. Is there a specific company you have in mind that I'd love to work with these people? Do you reach out to people? Like, how does all that work?
So I have been just doing the whole self-booking thing. And I luckily have met and know a lot of people in LA, so I have a few friends. And when I decided I wanted to do it, one of my friends was like, "Oh, make a tweet about it. I'll repost it." And so I've gotten um kind of like touching base with a couple of guys that she shot with. So no actual companies yet, but I am shooting with two. They've done a lot of mainstream stuff. These two guys, so I'm shooting with them this month, and if all goes well, I'm hoping that that just leads to more like doing that. And I would love to work with a couple of the companies in the future if I ever could, but we'll see if we get that far.
Do you remember the first time you went all the way? You lost your virginity.
Oh God, yeah, I do. Whew. It's a it's a funny story. So I was at I guess he was probably my first like real boyfriend, like,
Right.
and it was his 18th birthday party. And they were having it at like one of his friends' houses. You know how it is when you're that age, nobody is like can buy alcohol, but somebody's parents is buying it and you're staying in their basement. They're taking your keys. So it was that kind of vibe. My mom knew that I was going to this party, but she thought I was leaving with my friend. So I went with my friend, and he's like, "So you're staying the night?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm staying the night." And my friend leaves. I'm freaking out the whole time because I'm afraid that my mom is going to, figure out. And he has stayed sober this whole night so that we can have sex because that was the big thing. Um, and then I don't know where the plan went awry, but he didn't. So he's a little bit not all there. I am not doing anything. I'm just waiting in this game room. And finally he comes in. He's like, "All right, let's, we're sort of making out and stuff." And all of a sudden some guy like literally falls in the wall, like comes through the door. And he's like, has his pants halfway down. He's like, "I have to go handle this. I'll be right back." So I'm waiting in there. I have to go and get him at some point. He comes back. So long story short, we finally get the door locked. The lights are off and we start doing it. And I'm like, this is not what I thought that it was going to be like, but okay. He's not moving. He's not really doing anything. I guess I'll move. And he's like, "Oh, you want to get on top?" I'm like, "I guess." So I get on top. That's a little bit better. And I'm just, going through it in my head, like, "Oh my God, I kind of want this to be over." And all of a sudden, I hear something like in the room with us. And I'm like, "I think that there's somebody in here." So I like stop, and he's like, "You're paranoid. There's nobody in here." I'm like, "No, I really think that there's someone in here." So I keep moving again, and he's like, "No, wait, I hear it." We turn on the light. His friend is behind the couch under a blanket. He's like, "I'm so sorry. Like I was in here and you guys just started and I didn't know what to do." Um, and I was mortified, could not believe it, and I was like, "Get me out of here." I ended up leaving. And I thought that would be the end of it. No, no. That's where the the phone sex operator thing started, I think, because I showed up to school and everybody's like, "I heard that you have a really nice moan." I'm like, "Great." So glad that's made it around. So that was my first time. It wasn't great. The second time was much better, but the first time, not fun.
But that first time, did you initiate? Did he initiate? Was there peer pressure from your girlfriends? Everybody did it. What are you waiting for?
No, it was I think that we both kind of mutually did that because I can remember I actually gotten grounded for a while because we were very much in the hormone like going crazy. I don't know how many times my mom walked in on us like making out and doing more. So I think it was both of us because I was like, "It's about to be your birthday. I feel like this is when we should do it." So yeah, no pressure there. And I was like one of the first of my friends to do it. So yeah.
And you have sex the first time, do you immediately become sexually active, or do you wait before you do it again?
I waited a while because I was very put off of it because I was like, if that's what everybody's talking about, that's not that great. It wasn't a lot of fun. And then I probably didn't have like fooled around a bit, but like I didn't have sex again probably for a good 2 years after that. And that would have been with my like the guy I was with for basically up until like I moved and like graduated and stuff. And that was good because he was older than my
Right.
little high school boyfriend. He knew what he was doing, and I was like, "Wow, okay, this is I see what the whole hype is now." And
And
then I never stopped.
uh, Prior to going all the way, had you masturbated or given BJs or done anything?
Yes, I was definitely one of those girls that was doing a lot. I had given a blowjob once before. I had definitely been fingered a few times. What else had I done? Definitely done a hand job, but that's about it. So yeah, few things.
Your first BJ, do you know
Mhm.
what you're doing? Because the guy unzip his pants and his thing pops out and you're supposed to know what to do?
I wish somebody had like instructed me on what happens. That's another like crazy story. Yeah, he didn't tell me what to do really. I knew what you were supposed to do, like the basics. But I know that I wasn't very good because we had a movie on, and I remember I did it for the entirety of the movie, and he like did not come until the end. And I can remember going back and like calling my friend and being like, "Is it supposed to last that long?" Like it was my neck was so sore, but I had no idea. I also had no idea that you weren't supposed to swallow. I didn't know what you were supposed to do with it, so I just swallowed it. And I can remember him being like, did you swallow that?" Yeah, what else was I supposed to do with it? It's like, oh no, nobody's ever done that before. I'm like, oh, I guess that's good.
But maybe you were so good that he was enjoying it for as long as he could.
Maybe that's what it was. I should tell myself that because yeah, I was like, oh my God, mortified.
You mentioned earlier you had an oral fixation. At this
Mhm.
point, you can see yourself good at giving
Oh
BJs.
yes, definitely. Yes, very much so. I pride myself on that now. Yeah, very light years away from beginning.
For you, what's the secret to a good BJ? Are you a hand person, a spit person, a tongue?
Oh, I'm definitely a spit person. I think if you have like the good like deep throat spit from the back, you're golden. But I love all of it. I've told people before like we don't even have to have sex. I just want to suck your dick. It's very much I don't know where it came from, what the oral fixation is, but yeah, I love it. It's a lot of fun for me and it's been great for like people that I've partners that I have obviously that have a penis that I've hooked up with, they're like, that's great, that's fine with me. So it's a good it's a good thing to have.
And when you have a man's penis in your mouth, do you have a sense of power over him?
Oh, definitely. I think it's for sure like a little bit of a power trip because it's like, you know, I can make you feel this good and render you basically like helpless for a few minutes by, you know, sucking faster or slower or doing this thing with my tongue. So yeah, it's definitely a power move. Or I've had guys be like, "Oh, I never come from blowjobs," and I give them a blowjob and they come, and that's definitely like a told you.
But when you sense a man's about to come, do you purposely pull back? Or
It,
do you do what?
it's kind of it varies. Sometimes I will like be like, "Oh, you're about to come, so I'm gonna keep going and make you come," or I'll stop and like tease a bit. It depends on kind of the mood, and who I'm kind of like hooking up with. But yeah, it depends on the vibe of the situation. But more often than not, I definitely like to prolong it a bit just because I'm having fun.
Or then you enjoy giving BJs for yourself as much as you enjoy pleasing
Oh,
your partner?
oh, definitely, definitely, for sure.
Have you ever used your oral abilities to get something you wanted?
Oh, oh man. Yeah, I probably have. I'm actually I can't remember what it was, but I can remember doing it with an ex of mine. I don't remember what it was for, but yeah, I can remember us having that conversation. I've also done it for like a bet. Same thing. The guy told me, "Oh, I've never come from a blowjob," and I'm like, "I bet you if I make you come, then you have to, you know, do whatever it was." So yeah.
In the bet situation, did you think he was good looking and you just wanted to suck his dick? And it became a bet to get it done? Or was it an actual thing where this piqued
Oh,
your
oh no, no,
curiosity and
we were actually coworkers. We worked at a restaurant together and we were just hooking up with each other because we ended up living in the same apartment complex, weirdly. And we were just like hooking up with each other randomly. And I was like, "Why don't you ever like really want a blowjob?" And he's like, "I just don't come from them. Like, so I don't want you to waste your time." And I'm like, "But I bet you I can make you come." And he's like, "You can't." So yeah, I was attracted to him and we were basically like fuck buddies for a while. And yeah, it was funny. I obviously won that bet.
so is space fucking okay for you?
Oh yeah. I love that. Love face fucking, throat fucking, deep throat. I usually ask partners because tech more often than not, it's been people that I have hooked up with that have had more of a problem with like I don't mind like throwing up a little bit. I don't mind any of that, but it's I usually have to ask because some people don't like a lot of spit. Some people don't like the noise. So yeah, I have to ask because some folks really just like a slow like soft blowjob, but I like all the other crazy stuff.
But the crazy stuff for you, um is it a can I see if I can actually do this? Or is it like I
Mhm.
like this man's penis, I want to see how far I can get it down my throat, or I like the gagging noises, I like the puking. It making sense?
Yes, I think it's a lot of that combined. It's a little bit of everything. It's been in the past, so for example, I hooked up with somebody once who had a bigger dick than I had ever seen, and it was just a hookup. Um, and that time it was like I really wonder like how far I can get this down my throat before like seriously can't breathe. Then there have been times when I have been like just super attracted to somebody and like, okay, I really want to make them feel good. And then I really just like it. So yeah, it's a combination of all of it together, but there have definitely been times when I'm like, okay, just so I know, can I actually do this?
And for sake of discussion, you're kneeling giving a guy a BJ. You look up at him and his eyes are rolling back in his head. Are you laughing? Are you happy? Are you excited? Are you what?
Oh, I'm thrilled. If that happens, I usually just keep doing whatever I'm doing in that moment, like harder, because obviously we're reaching the end and if I can make somebody really have that like eyes rolling back, like gripping the bed, that's what that's what we want.
You did your first BJ, it took forever. Are you okay now with long BJs now, or do you prefer like doing it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe? I don't know what your time thing is, but
Oh, no, I don't mind. Any time frame is fine. I feel like that was a good lead up because it made me go, well, at least I'm okay with it if it does take a while. Yeah, I've never had a problem with them being long. The only thing is like if it's uncomfortable, I'll move. We need to like relocate. But yeah, I don't
yeah.
mind them being long because I've had partners that come really quick and some people don't come very quick or at all. So yeah, I don't mind long at all.
And you like facials? Don't like facials?
I do like facials. I do. I have a cum kink, so I love cum in general. On my face, inside me, wherever.
And sex for you? Have you had a lot of two pump experiences? I would guess you have.
Um, I have maybe had probably a handful. Not too many, but I have had a handful of those. Most people, I would say, even if it's on like the shorter scale, I'd say like maybe like 5 minutes, like 10 minutes. But yeah, I have had a couple of people. I mentioned earlier, I like older men. I've had a couple of people that I've hooked up with right after they got divorced. They haven't been with another woman since their wife, so their ex-wife, and so it was that kind of situation. But we worked up.
But in that situation, do you give them another chance? Do you do what?
I honestly, it doesn't bother me at all. As long as somebody, I don't mind how quickly somebody comes. As long as you'll make sure I come afterwards, we're good. And yeah,
And
if you want to hang out, like, hook up or like fool around until you get hard again and then go again, I'm always fine with that. I really just like sex in general. I don't care if it takes all day.
and you as a woman, I don't know what kind of guy you like, but if you let's say for sake of discussion, you like tall dudes built like
Okay.
shit houses and 6 feet tall. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But have you met a dude like that that thinks he's the shit? And
Oh,
A, he drops
yeah.
his pants and his weenie is about as big as my finger,
That
and B, and he sticks it in once and he's done.
it was kind of the opposite. Really tall, big dick, but didn't know how to use it. Didn't know what to do with it. And they just like pound away and think that it feels good. It doesn't. But yeah, I have met quite a few guys that I have had sex with that like, oh, I'm so good. I'm like great, like talking it up, and it's not. It's the people that don't talk it up that are always really good at it.
And do you like making love or fucking?
I prefer fucking. I have to really be in the mood to do the whole like making love, like romantic stuff. I definitely prefer fucking with like acts of love in other ways.
And you mentioned earlier you like rough sex. Do you like being manhandled?
I do. I like all of that. Because I'm 5'1" and I'm like small, so I'm really easy to like toss around. So yeah, I love that.
And uh, you have a favorite position? I hate asking. I'm sorry.
Oh, doggy. Doggy is my favorite position.
So you like the guy grabbing your hips and just pounding?
Yeah, just pounding or even like kind of where they're not even holding on, but you're like almost like this portion of you is like on and like arched up, that kind of
Right, right.
dog. And then the other one that I will usually go into from that is prone bone. I love that one.
And we talked earlier about rough sex. Do you like having your hair pulled, assuming the guy knows what he's doing and you don't have extensions?
Yes, I do. I love having my hair pulled. And I haven't had extensions for probably like say like 8 years, and I love that I don't have to worry about it anymore.
So most of the time, we tend to put your hand behind and grab the woman's head back. And I've seen guys
Yes.
just grab a chick's head, a girl's head. I'm sorry.
Yeah. People don't get how you're supposed to do it. I've had to explain that to people before. Like I'm like it's like the nape of your neck from the bottom.
And choking, okay?
Yeah, I like choking as long as somebody like knows how to do it. I've had to walk people through it before, but as long as I can like trust somebody,
Right.
I do love choking. I'm I'm one of those people that I like a bit of, like I said, I like a little bit of the fear play. I like, being like, oh, are you gonna let go or are you not gonna let go? But as long as I trust someone, I'm game for most anything.
Spanking. You like being spanked?
I I love being spanked. Spanking is my number one kink. I wouldn't even call it a kink. It's my fetish. It's the thing. It's the first like sex thing that ever like lit up the switchboard for me. So yeah, I love spanking.
Slapping. You like being slapped?
I do.
Slap your face, slap your boob, slap your crotch.
Yep. Anywhere. You can slap me anywhere.
We talked dirty talk earlier. For you, dirty talk is dirty talk to you. Oh, you're so pretty, and I can't wait to put my penis in you. Or is dirty talk that you're a dirty little this and this and this, and I'm gonna do this, this and this to you?
Yeah, if I'm not being degraded, I don't want it. Like I want you to tell me that I'm basically like lower than dirt. You're gonna like, you hate me basically. You're just gonna fuck me because I'm there to fuck. I love that. Yeah. As long as again, I trust somebody and I know that you're not gonna be like that you don't mean it. Go crazy. I love the
Is
crazy dirty talk.
is degrading the B word?
Bitch, I don't mind bitch. Yeah, I haven't found anything, and that's funny because it comes up a lot in audios. I haven't found anything that truly bothers me to be called because, it's dirty talk. But I know that some people, don't like bitch. Some people don't like cunt or like having their intelligence
Slut or
insulted.
whore?
Yeah, I don't mind any of that.
Have you had anal sex yet?
I have. I have not done any kind of like anal like on camera, but I do love anal sex. I do like solo anal stuff all the time. Yeah, love it.
Rim jobs. You do rim jobs.
I do. I have only done that IRL a couple of times. I've never minded when I've done it. It's something that I would like to do more so that I could be better at it. But yeah, it's not anything that I've ever minded. I was a bit like sussed out the first time someone told me to do
No.
it, but I was like, okay.
You as a woman, what is it that gets you going? You like your neck nibbled, your boobs played with, your clit licked?
For me, it's funny, it's definitely the neck. I have a spot, like on the back of my neck that's really sensitive. So that really gets me. And then, I really like groping. Like if I'm making out with someone and like the groping and touching, that's instantly going to get me turned on.
And the groping, is it intentional? Is it unintentional? You like a direct woman when it comes to sex? You know what I mean?
Yes, I definitely like more direct. Because like I mentioned earlier, most of the time when I'm having sex, I'm more submissive, so I want someone else to be direct. So yeah, not any of the kind of like fumbly stuff. Be
Right.
direct.
No, no. For sake of discussion, this will sound like a bad porno, but just go with it. If I see
hmm
you in a bar and you look just ridiculously stunning, and we walk up to you at the bar and we whisper in your ear, we want to take you in the bathroom and do just everything to you. Would you slap that person? Would you do what?
I think I would be more intrigued that it might be a couple minutes later, I might be like, no, and then you get a slap. But I think if someone had the balls to come up and do that, I'm going to be more intrigued
Right.
than I am going to be upset.
And what's the easiest way for a guy to get in your pants? Are you a chocolate
Oh,
and flowers person? Are you a date? Are you what?
the easiest way to get in my pants, okay, would probably be, to do something like a bit nerdy with me, whatever that may be. I'm also, obviously, I'm big into like Halloween and horror. If you will sit down and watch a horror movie with me and we can have like dinner, and we will do the whole like, I guess it's kind of high school of me, but like the whole groping, like stuff on the couch, that's a good way in. But if you're like trying to set up a date, the easiest way to get in my pants is like, let's do something nerdy and be into it or tell me about your nerdy interests. That is a surefire way to get me like horny for you is like, please tell me about your hyperfixations.
By the grace of God, I get into your pants. What's the right way to go down on you?
See, now this is a good question. I have yet to have anybody make me come from going down on me.
Is that because
Um,
they're afraid? Is that because
I don't know if it's like technique. The only way I've had somebody like be able to achieve it is adding fingers. And it wasn't they were bad at it. But the best way I would say to start it and get there is I like it very like teasing. So I like somebody that's gonna like spend a lot of time around. No, don't go directly in. Spend a lot of time like teasing the thighs, the clit, all of that before you actually like start going in. That's the best way to do it. That's how I've come like from doing it before, but like I said, I've had to have fingers and stuff. I would love to experience just having an orgasm from just having my pussy eaten because I hear it's phenomenal.
for sake of discussion, I go down on you and I actually know what I'm doing. God help
Yes.
me. How long would it take you to come?
Ooh, um, probably not long at all. Because anytime I have someone that is like focused and they know what they're doing, whatever they're doing to make me come, I come pretty quickly and I come very easily. So I would say like 5 or 10 minutes probably tops. Yeah, I do. And the good thing about it is once I do start coming, I usually do it quite frequently, therefore like through the rest of the sexual encounter, so it's good. But yeah, if someone knows what they're doing or like they're confident or they're paying attention to what I'm enjoying, yeah, it's pretty quick.
And are you I'll call it a combo girl, makes any sense? Are you the girl that if I'm doing the right thing but talking like you do the audio, does all that get together and make it bigger or better for you?
Yeah, I do love if somebody can like manage to like throw a bunch of things in together. So yeah, like I like being fingered sometimes more than having
Yeah.
sex. If someone knows how to do it, it's like one of my favorite things. And I have hooked up with someone who was really good at it, but also then added in like dirty talking. And we're
Yeah.
laying together, so they're right in my ear, and I was like, that's perfect. We don't even have to have sex. This is perfect.
But going back to what we mentioned earlier about the dialogue,
Hmm.
if I started going down and I could tell you were reacting,
Right.
and I started saying to you, "Your pussy is so beautiful," and so what? Does that turn you on more?
Oh
Does
yes,
that fuck the things up?
definitely. Yeah, that's the praise that I like. So like when I dirty talk, I usually like it like filthy, but like when I'm like that, I love the praise aspect and like, oh, you look so pretty when you come, or you're taking it so well, or you're a good girl, all that. Love that. Love it.
And you come. Do you want me to keep going, or do you want to have sex?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's one of those things that I'm always like in the moment, like I kind of have to decide. But normally if I'm that worked up, I'll be like, let's just fuck. I want you to fuck me, yeah.
And we kind of touched on it earlier, but for a guy to have a chance in hell with you, is he tall, short, fat, skinny? Is he smart, stupid, whatever?
I don't have a specific type. I have dated tall guys, short guys, chubby guys, thin guys. I've gone all across the board. The main thing that I look for is if you can make me laugh and you have like a spontaneous personality and you can listen and deal with my chaos because my life can be a bit chaotic. If you
Yeah.
can listen and do those things, I don't really care what you look like. I don't care if you're like disabled, like whatever. It doesn't matter. If we're on those little three things, we're good to go.
And you mentioned spontaneity. Do you like having sex spontaneity, or are you like a plan girl?
I'm definitely a spontaneous sex kind of person. I love that. I'm because I'm so rigid and planned with other things in life. I love spontaneous sex. Like, in the middle of like driving, do you want a blowjob? Love that. Yeah, I love somebody that's down to be spontaneous with sex.
Craziest place you had sex on a whim?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say probably the craziest was my ex and I were at his parents' house and did not want to have sex in their house because it was so close together. So we went to a church that obviously it's night, there's no one there. And we thought, okay, there'll be like somewhere we can park. There wasn't. So we ended up getting out and we had sex in like, I guess it was like a courtyard of like a church. And that's probably the craziest place that I've ever had sex. And the whole time I was like, we're going to get caught. I'm shocked that we didn't get arrested, but it worked out.
Do you know what a badge bunny is?
I don't think I do.
For sake of discussion, you're doing your thing in the backseat of a car, and
Hmm.
a cop stops you.
Oh, yes.
A
Okay.
badge bunny would have sex with the cop to let you go.
Oh,
Would
I
you do
love that.
that?
If I got caught having sex with someone and that was the way out, yeah, I would do that. We don't want to go to jail.
Do you have fantasies about men in authoritative
Oh,
places, situations?
definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I think mine more often than not, probably because I didn't go to college. Professor is a big one for me. Anything like teacher. Um, I have even gone the taboo route of like stepdad and stuff like that. Definitely like the authoritative stuff. Yeah, for sure.
And is there some place in public you want to have sex that you maybe haven't yet?
Ooh, in public. I would love to have sex like in public for an audience, like of like people. Just in public in general though. Let me think. Hmm. I would love to like have sex, not on a beach because it's sand, but I would love to have like sex in like a tropical location where I'm not going to get sandy. I would love to do that outside.
And you mentioned people watching you. Is it turn on for you that you're the center of attention, and there's that many people jacking off to you, let's say?
I think it's a combo again, because it's one of the things that I love about doing camming and like streaming. Because I tell people that come to my streams all the time, I have the biggest fantasy about like somebody like fucking me while they're all watching and like telling them what to do. So yeah, it is that, but it is also knowing that like they're getting off and they're jerking off, and doing it in front of an audience. I've talked about it before with one of my doms in the past that was like, I want to like show you off and show people like how much you can take, and that immediately like lit up in my brain. I'm like, love that. So it's a big
You
part of
met,
it for me.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You mentioned you had a cum fetish or thing before.
Oh yeah.
Is there any part of your brain that there's 10 people watching you, you imagine these 10 people are going to come on you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I actually, it's funny that you asked about the cum king. I actually made I think it was like a tweet like last month. People ask me all the time like, "Do you actually like it? Do you really like?" Yeah, I do. Like I tell people like I've had the good, the bad, the ugly. I've like had it all. I still like it. It doesn't matter if it tastes good or bad. And yeah, if I'm when I'm on a stream or whatever, people bring it up all the time to like try and get me to come during my streams. It's like, you know how many people are watching right now. Have you ever thought about how much cum that would be? Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, yes, and I'm gonna come. So yeah, I'm always thinking about it.
Shooting question. Have you ever shot fake cum scenes?
Yeah, I just started doing stuff with fake cum probably about like 2 years ago. I had to find one that actually, I had bought one previously that didn't have the right consistency. So yeah, I bought some and now I love it. I love doing it.
No, we had this fake penis that was like huge.
Yeah.
So we cut a hole in it, took
Oh, a tube.
a tube.
Hmm.
We used a turkey baste for squeezing. We mixed orange juice, milk, something else together. I forget what it was, and
Oh
her
yeah.
face was just gone. It was just gone. And she
Oh
thought
my
it
God,
was
I
like the
love it.
weirdest thing when we did it, but it was one of her most popular videos she ever did.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, the fake people love fake cum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just imagined like all these dudes, and it was just crazy. But you needed that. Are you into girls?
Oh yes, definitely. I'm very proud bisexual. Love girls.
Do you ever look for yourself? Type of girl
Ooh.
you like? Sorry.
So I'm like, I it's funny because I don't really have like a type with guys. I don't really have a type with girls, but I do go for more of I love hooking up girls that are like girly like I am. I love all girls, but I love hooking up with like really girly girls too. Even not like for content. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'm very attracted to that. On the other side of things though, I do have a soft spot for like for more masculine and more androgynous. I love androgynous looking girls, like love that. So yeah, I guess I don't really have a type. As long as they are maybe just either my height or a little bit taller. I haven't ever hooked up with a girl that was like shorter than me, but I feel like that would be awkward because I'm already short.
And with women, are you sub or dom?
Oh, see, and it's funny with women, I can very easily be a switch with women, very easily. Like it depends. I've the first time I ever hooked up with a girl on camera when I did fetish modeling, and it was just pictures, it wasn't video. Um, I assumed that I was going to be the more dom one, and she came in and just like like slapped me across the face, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm here for that." And I've hooked up with girls before that I thought they were going to be very dominant, and they weren't, and it brought out a side of me that I was like, "Oh, I guess I do have more of a dom side that I knew." But it's much easier for me to tap into it with women, for sure.
And are you comfortable walking up to a pretty woman in a public place and hitting on her or trying to pick her up?
Oh my gosh, it's funny. I'm very comfortable doing that with men. I'm not with women. I'm so shy because I women make me nervous because I am just like I don't always know how to read them as easy as I
Yeah.
do like men because I'm used to talking to men all the time. So um, yeah, I'm much more shy with pretty women.
Do you ever get giddy with women?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. I talking about the same girl, the first girl that I did the fetish modeling with, I hooked up with her outside of work, like after that, just because we had a very good connection. But oh yeah, she made me really nervous and like very like like schoolgirl, like
Right.
texting her. So yeah, definitely have had that.
Have you had the situation where you saw a woman from a distance and she was just stunning, just like,
Mm.
and then through the grace of God, you guys hooked up and she started stripping and it was better than you thought it was?
Oh my God, I wish, I hope that happens to me one day.
Not just be
I will
curious how
cross
you
my
handle
fingers.
that, but you camming. How did you get into camming?
So I basically when I started my Fansly, it was it hasn't been that long. I just started doing like cam shows on Fansly in I want to say it was January of last year, so not that long. And it was just I basically got out of my head about it because I really and I can be such a tech idiot sometimes. So once I had someone, one of my friends that could help me set it up, and I figured out how to do it and without it like blowing things up, I just kind of jumped in. I love doing them. Right now, I only do one a month because I have to like have a dog sitter and stuff. But I'm hoping in future once I move, I can do more of them because I love doing cam shows. They're so much fun.
But are you more dom or sub there?
Um, so far I have been more submissive there. But I would love to do a more kind of like Dom kind of stream in future. I think that they would really like that too. So we're working up to that.
Your first one-on-one show. What was your reaction the man first time the man took his junk out?
Oh, so you know what? I haven't got to do a one-on-one cam show yet. I've only done like just like the ones for like a whole audience. But I have done like sexting kind of like that with video stuff before. And I guess it was kind of shocking, but it was so exciting because it was unlike anything that I had ever done before. Because phone sex is so different. You can't like see anything and
Hmm.
like you can send pictures and stuff. but actually being able to watch someone doing it while you're doing it is really hot. I wasn't expecting it to be as hot as it actually is, but it totally is.
Good cam show for you. Is that a good interaction? Is that what from your perspective?
For me, my favorite shows that I have done are, again, it's a good energy from chat. Everybody is like really chatty and talkative, and I'm having fun. So if I'm like, I want to say probably the ones that I've had the most fun doing are usually like the throat fucking ones, or if I'm like trying a new toy because people love testing the new toys. So those have always been a lot of fun, and everybody always shows up when I'm testing a toy, and they're like really gung ho on making me like come. So that's always a good time. But yeah, as long as chat is like having a good time, I hate it when people aren't really like talkative, and I get it because halfway through the show, you're using one hand. I get it. It's okay, but I love when people are like talkative and being chatty.
And correct me if I'm wrong, do you just do solo shows? Do you do boy girl
Um,
shows? Do you do
so I have done so far. I have done one IRL girl show, and I did that with my friend Blue, who I've done my girl videos with. We did it when she visited me, and it was a lot of fun. People loved it. But beyond that, I've done a lot of shows with my friends online. A lot of them do the I don't know if you're familiar with like VTubing, the little characters that are motion. You have to
I've
like do
heard
your
of it,
mouth.
but
Okay,
okay.
yeah, cool. So a lot of my friends that do audio porn have those. So I have one too. So I've done shows where it's like animated, the little animated creature doing its stuff. So, yeah, I've done a few of those. I'd say like probably three or four at this point, and they're a lot of fun. I love getting to play with my friends. It's the best part of my job.
And for you, I'm guessing you do 2 hour shows, 3 hour shows. I don't know. If it's not going great, do you have a secret way? Do you keep your energy up to not getting not interested, if that's the politically correct way to say that?
Yeah, no, no, no. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, for when it gets a bit slow, normally what I do is I just try and like I'll either ask chat like a question or I talk about something that I have coming up, like an audio or something I just made, and that normally will get everybody kind of like back into the groove, or at least me, mentally it does. It brings me back into it. But yeah, usually they're pretty high action. Luckily most of the time. So yeah, it's fun.
You mentioned earlier about a girly thing and a pervert thing. When you're doing
Mm.
a cam show, are you a pervert or are you a girl?
I usually try and be a bit girly, but it always goes to the pervert thing. I actually last week did the first show that I've ever done with my fuck machine doing a throat fucking thing, and I told them I was like, I feel like Martin Scorsese this week. I'm trying to find like the best angles, but when we started, I'm like, I'm just putting it here. I hope it's okay. I'm like, I'm just putting it here. I want you to have the best shot. I don't care if my makeup looks good. Like, it's fine. So yeah, I when I'm doing shows, I try to start off like being aesthetically pleasing, but it always goes into whatever is going to be the best angle that you guys can see what I'm doing. That's what we want.
And I usually ask people if there's a difference between you and the person people see on camera, but in your case, it seems to be, sorry if that sounded bad. There seems to be three personalities. You seem to have the audio person, the visual person, and you. Are there three different people there?
I pretty much meld them all into one. I always tell people Victoria is very much me. She's me like on like steroids, like times like 5,000. She's like, ready to fuck whatever, whatever. But yeah, I've done a good job, I think, of like melding a lot of like the audio and visual all together, and so it's kind of like all encompassing. But yeah, I would say like visual stuff she can be a bit more like I'd say like hardcore. And then like in audio stuff, it's a bit different. So it's kind of a different vibe. But yeah, I try and keep them all like as cohesive as possible so that it's one big brand of pervert.
And do you ever find yourself getting too far stuck into character? Maybe even like when you're not working?
No, I've actually always, luckily, I've been really good at that. That was the first thing that my like strip club big sister taught me was like, when you come in, there was a mirror on the door. She was like,
Right,
when you come in every day, look in the mirror and I want you to leave yourself out there and
right,
bring
right.
in, your stripper self. And that always stuck with me because she was like, you can be yourself, but it's just a different version of you. So I that's always stuck with me. So I've always had a good perspective on being like, okay, we're gonna shut that down for tonight. I'm just gonna go relax and be me, and turn off like Victoria or whatever. So I've gotten pretty good at it. I will say sometimes, like, you have a week where you're doing a bunch of work, it can be a bit hard to come out of it. Like I have people visiting and I'm like, in my head, it's like sexual innuendo. So, but tone it down for the vanilla friends. But I think for the most part, I have a good handle on it.
If you're dating, for sake of discussion, and you date vanilla people, when they find out that you're a cam girl and all that stuff, does that change? Do they try and impress you sexually? And there's 20 questions there, but
So I've had it kind of all across the board. I met one of my partners when I was working at a strip club and they were really into it, up until we were serious. And then it was more like, well, I don't know. Like it was fun at the beginning, but, I basically just tell people from jump, like what I do. So that we don't have any of that weirdness. I've only ever had one person that was like, "Oh, you're a stripper. You must like crazy stuff. Like I'm trying to impress you." But after dating a few like vanilla people, I have like been like, okay. So I think in future when we date next time, I'm gonna date somebody that does the same thing that I do because it seems to make it easier. When I've dated people that do the same thing, like sex work of any variety, it works so much easier.
and when you dated civilians
Mhm.
and they said, "Oh, I've never watched your stuff," but you know they have. Does that surprise you? Does that shock you? Turn you on?
It's yeah, I've always thought it's kind of for me it's hot. Like if you've actually seen it before and like you've gotten off to it, for me it's hot. I know that I've had people or I've had one person tell me that and I had that kind of reaction and they were a bit like, "Oh, like I shouldn't be," but yeah, I think it's hot. Like if you don't do like porn or like cam shows or whatever and you're dating somebody that does and you watch their stuff, I think that's really hot. I mean, supportive porn partners are great.
Have you ever had a problem when you dated someone that's a stripper? Would they enjoy fucking Victoria more than fucking you?
Um, I had kind of an opposite of like, they liked me, but they couldn't stand that I did the other, and they were very jealous of it. Or they really liked Victoria, and then when they start dating me, I'm not like that all the time. I'm not always on. I want to like sleep sometimes or whatever. And yeah, it was like, oh, well, you're more fun when I'm hanging out with you at the club. I'm like, okay. So
Uh,
yeah, it did happen.
you mentioned horror and witchcraft and all that. We didn't even, I think that's a very cool part of your Twitter. That's
Oh,
like the
thank
only thing I
you.
knew about you.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry that sounded stupid, but
No, 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 no.
are you totally into that? Is that just something different from all the sex stuff? Is there?
Yeah, so I definitely in my real life I practice it in a small capacity, not like some people. I would never even claim to be that close to it, but I've always been attracted to the occult and witchcraft and ghosts and paranormal always, ever since I was like a kid. So it was kind of a natural thing of like, okay, if people find this hot or it's hot in some capacity, like I can add that to my character. So it's a good way for me to make my persona online more me. It is more me because that is something that I'm like super interested in and do, in everyday life.
I'm an idiot. What's the misconceptions about witches?
Oh, okay. There are lots of misconceptions that like witches are always evil, that people that practice witchcraft are satanic and they're like sacrificing like children and like doing all this crazy stuff. That's one of the biggest ones. There's the misconception that everybody that is into witchcraft is goth. They're not. I have friends that do it that are like, very like straight laced, like button up, 9 to 5 people. I'm trying to think what else. Other misconception, people think that if you even believe in it, that you're crazy, that you're like nuts. There's no way. And I have tried to explain to people so many times, it's not actually like what you think magic is. It's something completely different. But yeah, there's lots of them. I think the biggest one that I've run into is the whole like demonic, satanic thing, which is just, it's ridiculous.
Have you been on a date though, and you're like, somebody else, so what are you into? And you say, I'm a witch. And then like, what is that discussion like?
I have never been on a date where that's happened because I think that I very much so let people know who I am before we even like go on a date. Like, but I have been on dates before and talked about like paranormal stuff, and I've had people go, "Oh, okay," and then we don't go on a second date. So yeah.
And I happen to find witches sexy in a weird, mysterious.
Right.
Is that part of the aura? If that's the right word.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. It was why when I was picking like a outfit persona for my character, especially in like the whole VTubing, I chose a witch because yeah, they're very mysterious, they're sexy. More often than not, people would be attracted to a witch. They have the whole can make you do what they want with, witchcraft, all of that stuff. So yeah, I think that I've always thought that witches were sexy. And yeah, it was the natural progression. I'm glad that you do too. I'm glad that other people do, but yeah.
And let's forget this last hour has happened, and you're not in the sex business.
Uh-huh.
What kind of sex do witches have?
Ooh, if I wasn't in the sex business, I would say that witches would probably more often than not, I think that they're either busy with what they have going on and they're going to enchant someone to come over and fuck them so they can get it done and get back to what they're doing, or they're the other side of it and they're really evil and it's just like I'm gonna have sex with as many people as possible, get my little minions, make them do whatever I want.
Then most witches would be doms.
I would think so. I think that most witches would probably be dominant for sure. And it's funny, most of the witch audios that I have done are dominant. So yeah, I think that is the conception, yeah, for sure, for witches.
And you do animation stuff and stuff too? Have you done some stuff on your
Oh
Twitter?
yeah, uh-huh.
That stuff's cool. What is that? Like, what is?
So it's the videos and stuff that you're like dubbing and stuff. I actually just had one come out this week and it's like an elf getting like gang banged by a bunch of orcs. And
Cool,
yeah,
cool.
it's so much fun. I love stuff like that. And it's basically you a lot of times the video people that give it to you, they'll have like cues for when you're supposed to talk. Sometimes it'll be a script or it's just like, oh, you can say something along these lines. So for this one that I did, it was I had a male VA that I'm friends with. He did all of the orc stuff. I basically have the video set up. I'm looking at the cues and it'll be like mouth is on. So that's when you're sucking a dick because the camera is showing you sucking a dick. When the camera changes is when you say like a line or whatever. But yeah, I love animations. I'm just dipping my toes into them and getting started, but I love stuff like that. That was some of the first porn that like I ever watched back in the day, so I love stuff like that.
What's different is it for you writing elves getting gangbanged and then writing audio porn? Is there a big difference?
There for me, there's really not because I do so much fantasy stuff and I weave that into so many audios that it's not really different. The only difference is like if you're doing like animation and just doing like audio, you edit kind of like everything afterwards. Whereas when you're dubbing, it's just kind of like, okay, there's 30 seconds of moans and then you got to stop and then you got to do this and then you got to stop. And I guess when you're doing just like straight audio porn, it's more fluid.
And do you find on social media when you say that you're a witch and you do stuff, which I find very cool, but does
Thank you.
that attract a different type of audience?
Um, I don't know if it does or not. I haven't noticed that it's like so different, but I'm sure it probably does. I'm sure there are people that are like super into witches and they would naturally gravitate towards it, or some people that aren't into it. Um, but yeah, I think for the most part, I haven't noticed like a specific kind of audience for it, but I know that people love the witch thing in particular because when I do an audio that it's just about a witch, it's not me being your girlfriend or whatever, people are super into it. They
No,
love witches.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh,
I've
you're fine.
shot a lot of stuff girls dressed as nuns, and it's
Oh, yes,
crazy popular, especially
yes.
the POV and the VJ, and we've done stuff that if I wasn't, I'm Catholic, but if I
Mhm.
wasn't going to hell before, I'm definitely going now.
We love a bit of blasphemy.
But is that stuff, have you shot anything like dressed as a witch, done any?
done stuff as a witch. I've actually did stuff. It wasn't a nun, but I was like for Halloween last year, I was the patron saint of porn. So I had like a
Mm.
halo and stuff.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. But yeah, I've done witch stuff. I would love to do more now that I'm doing more kind of like professional stuff. I would like
Oh,
to do it. But yeah, I'm always down to dress up as a witch.
yeah, I was in San Antonio or Dallas, Texas on tour, and
hmm
the person I was with was into shock stuff. So we
hmm
literally went to like a Catholic store and picked up a wooden cross, rosary, and beads, and then we got a pint of stage. With our next gig was San Francisco. We got
uh-huh.
a pint of stage blood, professional stage blood, and
How
we
cool.
dressed her up as a nun and she stuck the bead, she deep throated the cross. She did all this crazy
That's
shit.
awesome.
Oh, I
Ugh,
loved it, but we were just like, if we were not going to hell before,
we are now. We have a one-way
and
ticket now.
most of the people have seen it have just been speechless.
Ugh. I see, but I love stuff like that. We love
Yeah,
it.
we were just like, we think like pretty cool, right? You're like, you're out of your fucking mind. Anyway, when you're not doing silly interviews like this and you have time off, what do you like to do?
I go hiking a lot. I work out. I hang out with my dogs that I'm sure you can hear yapping. I'm a very like mellow person. I love going to concerts and stuff like that. But yeah, mainly when I have time off, I'm either hiking with my dogs or traveling or just sitting at home and doing nothing because that's nice too.
You, what's the reality of this business? This is what people think it is.
Oh, um, I'm sure that people, when they think about what we do, they just think that we do this all day, every day. Like, there's no downtime. We don't have relationships. We don't obviously wouldn't have time for like, family because we're having sex all the time. Um, or people, again, they think we're horny all the time, and that's just not it. Like, I have, I have days where
Right.
I don't want to think about sex at all.
Yeah.
I have days where it's super fun. But yeah, I think the conception that I've run into more often than not is people are they think that you're just because you make, content that you are always on. And that's definitely not it. So I'm like, I wish people would have a more realistic expectation when it comes to that, because it's just not the case.
Have you had people you went to school with, maybe in high school or something, and you mentioned somebody liked you before, but would you have people on social media now and they brag that they banged a famous cam model before she was famous?
I haven't. I honestly don't know if anybody besides like friends from back home know what I do, but if they do, they haven't said anything. But I think it would be funny if they did.
Do you
Maybe when
think?
I go to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe if I go back for a reunion at some point they'll say something, but I haven't seen anything. I'm sure they probably have seen me and I just don't know it.
I was going to say, have you had any of your teachers or anybody join your OnlyFans? I mean, I know they have handles, but
Right. I haven't, but I have heard of stories of that happening to people, and I think that would be hilarious.
and up to this point on
Mhm.
this journey, has there been any part of this that surprised you, shocked you, amazes you? You did it, anything?
Honestly, I am I'm shocked every day that I've ended up where I'm at. Just because I've always loved being in the sex industry, but I thought that I was out of it when I was at my last like vanilla job, doing makeup and stuff like that. And then obviously kind of got sucked back into it and I had no idea I really started going full force with it during lockdown. And I don't know if any of that would have ever happened. And that was a crazy time in general. But when I think back on where I was like 6 years ago, opposed to today, it's completely different. And if I went back in time and told myself that this is where I was going to be right now, I would probably be completely surprised. And so I'm shocked. I'm shocked every day that it's gone the way it has. I tell people that are on my sites all the time how grateful I am because I would have never guessed that it would have ever came to this or reached this level. So I'm super happy that it did because I love my job and I don't know a lot of people sadly that can wake up and say that they're excited to go to work.
At this point, is this a work for you or is this a career?
It's a career for me. Yeah, this is long term. I'm planning on doing this until I can't anymore. So
One of the questions I ask new people, and you should be able to answer this with no problem. At the end of the day, what is it that you want out of all this?
at the end of the day, what I want is to have had fun and not like stressed out about work the way I have watched like my mom stress out about work and like not money, but like being stressed about work in general. And I want to have a roof over my head and some food and my dogs, and that's basically it. As long as I can take care of myself and take care of my family if they need help, or my friends or anybody that I care about, and I have my basic needs met, I am happy. I'm thrilled that I am not in like this like weird Groundhog Day loop that some of my friends in vanilla corporate America jobs doing all that are, and I'm glad that I'm not. So at the end, when it's all said and done, I would love to be like 80 and be like, see, I used to be hot.
Okay. Uh, Social media handles.
Mhm.
What
Um,
are you?
So I am Snaky Smut basically everywhere. You can find me on Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram. It's all Snaky Smut. If you don't find me under Snaky Smut, you can find me under Victoria Malfoy. And best way to find me, my website is www.snakysmut.com, and that has every link, every place that I'm at.
Snaky smut is very cool, but how did you come up with that?
Oh, okay. This is a fun story. I love when people ask me this. I love snakes. I've always thought that snakes were sexy. Smut is a word that I found when I got into fan fiction. So that was my first venture into sex stuff online, was finding fan fiction. And I thought that word was just so much fun. So being in fan fiction, and of course, I'm sure people will recognize my last name Malfoy is from Harry Potter. And I am just I love I love Jason Isaacs, and so his character Lucius Malfoy, I had a big crush on him in high school, so I read that fan fiction all the time. When I was making the name, I was like, okay, what goes with smut? I knew I wanted smut to be in there, and I was like, snaky would be cool. Snaky is what fandom in fan fiction calls. I don't know if you've seen it, but like he has the wand that's like the snake in fandom, they call the wand snaky, and I always thought it was cute. So I was like, snaky smut sounds cute, and it rolls off your tongue really easily. So that's how I got that.
Cool. Anything you'd like to say to all of your fans?
I would just like to say thank you so much for listening, watching, combination of the two, for just showing up. I'm always consistently shocked that people actually listen or watch or show up to the things that I do, and I am humbled by it forever. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. If you listened before, you don't listen anymore, you do forever. I thank you. If you're here for a short time or a long time, it means the world. I am really grateful that I get to do this and have a good time in my life. It wasn't always like that, and now it is, and it's a blessing. So thank you.